everybody, and welcome back to the Invisible Sun TTRPG actual play, The Hole in the World. Now, with awards. That's right, everybody. We won an award recently, so we've been kind of throwing it out there. We ended up winning the New Jersey WebFest's Best Ensemble Cast Awards. So shout out to the NJ WebFest, Ned Donovan, everybody associated with that. Thanks so much. I am, as always, now your award-winning GM as part of Ensemble Cast, because I do all the supporting stuff. Zach, otherwise known as Great Zamino. I use he, him pronouns, and I am joined once again by a fantastic, lovely set of cast members. If we would like to start with Marcy.
Hello, I am still Marcy and have been throughout this entire hiatus. I am also known as Experimental Madness most places around the internet except for Twitter, where I remain your resident cryptid and shall forevermore be hiding somewhere on the internet. You'll never find me. I am thrilled to be back playing Gavriel Kazan, the iconoclastic apostate who hosts a choir, and yes, I still had that memorized.
Awesome. Moving down the overlay, Bill, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. I'm Bill. Nice to see ya. You could find me on the internet on Discord at GhostSpike is my handle there. And I usually play Maurice, who's usually a stalwart empath of the Order of Weavers who turns tales into reality, but I don't think the person that's with all my friends is quite the same thing.
No, he is not. But we will go ahead and cover that in a little bit. Moving over to the other side of the overlay, Hopper, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey, it's me. It's still Hopper, regrettably. Sorry about that, guys. We tried to swap me out for somebody else, but unfortunately I'm malignant, like the worst sort of disease.
We just couldn't do it in time for the stream.
Yeah, their assassins failed. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm Hopper. I'm a professional GM and arborist based out of Brooklyn, New York, and my pronouns are they, them, as are my characters. I'm concerned about how plural that plural is getting. But currently I am playing Twigg, the mendicant gallant apostate who heralds beginnings.
Awesome.
And I had to look that up because I had to remember who I was playing.
Just remember, you have done that to yourself. Moving down, finally, rounding out this this misfit crew. Marissa, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Marissa. I use she, her pronouns, and today I'm brought to you by Balloon Sleeves. Hooray! Balloon Sleeves. I'm a book editor and occasional TTRPG editor known as Critical Kitten with various punctuation here and there on the internet. And I play Kyrrie von Hollingsworth, who is the first assistant librarian of the Order of the Vance. She is an aromatic stoic who understands the words, guardian of Zaleska's grimoire, curator of King Nine's library, and rectress of reflection.
Love it.
Challenge today. How many times can we get Marissa to have her raise her hands in excitement or any kind of gesticulation that gets us to see the balloon sleeves?
I mean, I guess that's on us, yeah.
We got this.
I will
accept it.
I will tell you this. If we can't get her to do that, I may have to actually make a balloon sleeve kindled item and make it too enticing for Kyrrie to ignore. So, okay.
Oh, dare.
Guys, are we ready to go back into the actuality? It's been too long.
Oh, boy.
But first, a little bit of music and a recap, if you are ready. Previously, on The Hole in the World, Maurice Webb found himself in the home of his true spider father, Lord Parthos, in the night side of the Silver Sun. Eager to leave and return to his friends in the Gold Sun, Maurice was forced to consider a tantalizing offer by Parthos. Ingest a part of the Spider Prince's memory in exchange for a chance to take back with him a seed of truth. Acquiescing, Maurice found his mind thrown back to the days just before the end of the war. In those days long ago, the Spider Prince, the Last Gasp, and the remaining members of the Cataract worked in secret to evacuate more Vislae to the Grey Sun. These clandestine efforts came to an end when they discovered terrifying creatures, the panther-like memory-eating pneumivores, pursuing veterans of the War of Satyrine. One such creature managed to enter the extra-dimensional mind palace of Allegra von Hollingsworth, devouring important memories before she could be assisted by Slipping Jack, Okris, the Spider Prince, and a young man she could no longer remember. Forced to abandon her sanctum, Allegra and the Cataract fled to Zeros to recuperate and determine their next moves. A message from Kieran von Mielis awaited them. Forced to recognize the futility of their efforts, he proposed that the Cataract hide their memories from the Vespertine and return to foment rebellion when the time was right. Making a pact, these heroes of the war sealed away their memories in a place known only to Twigg, with whom Okris shared a body. Returning to the present moment, our episode ended with Maurice staring into the grinning countenance of Parthas, who seemed all too eager to get one over on his Vislae son. So, bearing that in mind, Maurice,
Yes.
you see, coming out of this fugue state, the smiling visage of your father, a finger put on the illusion of his face, almost in wondering and consideration. And he is watching you with deliberate intent. What do you do? What do you say?
I try to. So I'm still bound in this web thing, right?
You are no longer bound. He freed you so that you could ingest the memory. But you realize that you do not have a home court advantage. This is the night side of the Silver Sun, and this is one of the lords of that realm.
He says, well, a deal's a deal.
Yes. I was hoping that you would be ready to attempt to prove your worth to take the seed back with you. And so
I was hoping that you would attempt to not put these illusions between us. But it's your choice.
Are you saying that you would like to see my true face then?
I'm saying that you're telling me what you think I want you to see. Or you're telling me what I think I want. Do you presume to know this?
I know many things, young one.
You know the past, Father. But the future we're making right now. So it's your choice. I don't need you to do anything except honor your agreement.
Well, it's a very tempting offer,
An offer I agreed to.
Yes, I afforded you the chance to prove yourself to be my son. This is merely the first step.
What is this? What is this? You're wasting your time with this? With the maybes and the coulds?
No time I ever mete out is wasted. I mean, certainly you may depart my lair, this place, with that in tow, but then you might have to break the enchantment on it, binding it into the receptacle. You would then have to, I'm sure, find a way to get your way past the Silver Sun Warden, At least
All
here on the night
things
side,
I would
Ravenel.
love to talk to you about. We have so much to talk about. But are you going to withhold the seed of truth which you promised me upon ingesting these memories? Speak plainly, Father. This will determine the relationship we have going forward.
And what relationship do you believe it is that we shall have?
That which we make together. Do you miss your son?
I'd like you to make me an interaction roll. This is really interesting.
I brought actual dice.
Yes!
I'm out of town. I brought actual dice. Hold on.
Oh my god.
It looked like he just ran off into the sunset.
I love, yeah, exactly. And there went Maurice off into the gold sun, never to
Riding and more
return.
scuttling, but
There is like a kind of forced perspective to this background there.
It's a perfect
what
background.
What a sin. What a streaming sin. Okay.
yeah,
okay,
but you
okay.
you missed the part where you ran into the sunset.
Aw.
You're gonna need to watch that on a VOD because it's pretty good.
Awesome.
I will tell you this. So, I will tell you this. The challenge to face a true spider, to convince them of anything other than the fact and the certainty that they are right on something. In this case, Parthos's level is 14. So,
Cool. So this is just for show.
well, I will tell you this. It is, if you would like to leverage a couple of dice, use sortilege, or employ some sort of tactic, we can kind of qualify it. But
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you were trying to influence him magically, I would say be very careful.
No, definitely. Like this is Maurice is intending to be as above board and honest as possible in this moment. I'm going to add 2 sortileges to this,
Okay.
because I have advanced sortilege.
Awesome. Roll 3 dice. Tell me what you get.
And one of them should be a magic die, right?
Yeah, 2 of them should be a magic die if you're using 2 sortilege.
Oh boy.
So
Okay.
you're rolling 3 dice, 2 of them magical.
Okay. That's a 5 and a 3, and the next magic die is a 9.
Okay. All right. So I will tell you this. He estimates you, and there is, I think, a ripple in the illusion. And you can see his true form. It is the size of a skyscraper, and it is regarding you very intently. But as the illusion ripples, you realize that you are not the only two, at least immediately around you. You are surrounded in what looks to be almost like an auditorium or like a proscenium. The illusion kind of shifted, and off in the distance that you can see again these towering kind of figures of true spiders, all seeming to be watching from their own kind of points of rest and webbing. And you realize that he is doing this interaction role. You realize that he is doing this for an audience. And so maybe whatever he is saying may not be truly how he feels, but he feels obligated to do this.
So this ripple, did it reveal everything, or did I sort of see it and now it's gone?
You can see through it, but I think with that kind of like estimation, and not only that, but kind of like that keen insight that you have picked up into True Spiders from having ingested this memory, like you realize now, like basically what is going on.
What's my sense of anyone else clocking that I just got to see that?
The thing that is most interesting to you is that everybody that is surrounding all of the Truespiders that are surrounding this point, they are dead quiet. They're watching very intently what is transpiring. But
I think an honest reaction from Maurice in that thing would be to maybe steal a look to the sides. And whatever anyone determines from that gesture, they can keep. But he takes a deep breath and looks for a point to focus on in the direction of Parthos.
And Parthos is I think Parthos, being this incredibly powerful entity, looks at you, realizes that you have seen this. And you once again, that illusion of kind of the older man looking at you, he regards what you are saying and he says, "You never receive something for nothing. I offered you the seed with the caveat that you prove yourself worthy of it and worthy of your lineage. If you are prepared to prove yourself, then by all means, you will have the opportunity to leave this place unhindered, and the seed itself unbound. Is that still something that you wish?"
Just to be clear, ingesting and recovering part of my memory was some sort of preliminary step to proving myself worthy?
Well, I had to give you some vestige of your prior self if you are to play in this grand game of stories with me.
I suppose I must have forgotten quite a bit about Truespiders, because I don't recall them being quite so litigious and squirmy.
He narrows his eyes the moment you say squirmy. Because it implies something that crawls rather than something that waits and prays. Well, in that case, perhaps that you may prove your magnanimity in our little contest. I have taken the liberty of choosing the game as well as my pieces.
You've also taken the liberty of choosing the prize, which is my safe passage out of here. Father, I would love to stay and catch up. I just thought we had already played the game.
Do you accept these terms, having entered into my realm?
I accept these terms in front of all present.
Very well then. And the illusion ripples and dissipates, and you find yourself in the middle of a focal point surrounded by Truespiders, all silently watching and taking in the scene as this lord among these godlike and demigod-like creatures faces off with a single mortal Vislae. And Parthos regards you, and quickly in front of you, a web spins, forming this long kind of trapezoid. And you suddenly see shimmering into the air as if, through a projected image, what looks like the embankment of a river. Now, as you all know, the game of stories is one of the most time-honored traditions of us, our people, the Truespiders. Now we shall determine whether or not this young prodigal is really worthy of the respect that we have all meted out so diligently in his absence to his rebellion. I have chosen my pieces, and I believe yours are coming along just now. And the scene on the river embankment changes as a boat floats, carrying 3 familiar figures and one that is eerily, disquietingly familiar to you.
Cool, I hate this. I hate this a lot.
Yeah. Once again, the game is stories. We each have our moves. You may affect the environment of your pieces. You may augment them. You may cast through this modality, or you may try to turn the current of magic into your favor. Just know that I shall do the same. Do you understand these rules, these moves within this game?
How does one win this game?
I imagine the pieces will have to survive or not be taken.
I don't see yours. Is not knowing the whole board part of the game?
And the image shimmers. And you see very clearly the opposition. But before we do show you that, we are going to cut back to the Gold Sun, where our 3 Vislae have just arrived, including the modality of Maurice, this young child-like Vislae mortal who is kind of like working to tie off the boat to this riverbank, and this kind of like empty, almost kind of strange, like living organic like dock that has been moored here. And he's got this kind of cob pipe stuck between his lips as he's tying everything off, and he just looks to all of you. Gav, Twigg, Kyrrie, we've arrived. And he just kind of like ties everything off. This, I believe it was something like 13-year-old child body is kind of like inhabited by this older consciousness. Says, this is funny. This is a lot quieter than I usually remember this spot. What do you guys do?
Now, remind me, did we have a chance to talk to Twigg about this revelation?
That is, I will tell you this. This is something like this boat ride. I think that this is probably the day after you guys, or the morning after you guys have had this discussion. What have you guys, what would you guys do? Would you be walking and talking as things are going, or like how would you guys have acted out this morning?
I think Twigg is very quiet. They've been much more subdued than their normal rambunctious, I wonder if this schnozberry tastes like schnozberry type of self. I think very pensively staring, just kind of trailing after the group as a whole, letting other people take the lead.
Okay. Kyrrie, what about you?
Yeah, I think if I'm remembering correctly, where we sort of left the last conversation was Kyrrie and Twigg had talked about Kesh, and then Kyrrie had gone to get Gav and the little Maurice to fill them in on like what had just transpired.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I think one of the last things that Kyrrie said was like, basically, watch the fuck out, Kesh. Like, if you can hear this, we're gonna fight you. So I think she looks probably pretty determined. Her mouth is set in like a hard, thin line. I think she too is probably quieter than normal, although that's not saying too much for Kyrrie. But I think she has this sort of, I wouldn't quite call it, I'd call it like a quiet rage radiating off of her.
Okay. So you've got this quiet rage. Gav, you're kind of like surrounded on either side by these folks. You can feel Kyrrie like slowly and quietly fulminating at the recent revelations, and then I think the young Maurice, the gold Maurice, is kind of hanging back. This modality, kind of like looking on, just kind of wondering. I think kind of trying to make sure that he doesn't misstep or piss anybody off right now.
I don't think they're mad at you. I think Gav is helping the young Maurice tie off the boat.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I know it. It's just I know when somebody is determined and set about something, and I've seen Allegra get this way. When she's focused, it can get rather frightening. So I don't want to interrupt that, but I don't know how much different this is. And I'm going to turn a card for him real quick. Oh, this is neat. Okay. And the card I turned was the Relentless Rumor. Endless half-truths, incessant drives, ruthlessness. There is never a real truth in whispered rumors. Suggests an ongoing action. If one is hoping for a resolution, there's nothing to be found here. It also indicates that there's something involved, a fact, a person, a device, a spell that cannot be entirely relied upon. She didn't want to hear what he had to say, but she couldn't stop herself from listening. It's interesting because as he's having this moment with you tying off the boat and, speaking of this kind of his experience with Allegra, he stops all of a sudden and says, "Did you hear that?"
Hear what?
And he puts his hand up. And as you guys are getting off the boat, you finally see the riverside around you. It is, as you guys are kind of like stepping away from it, a settlement. So think of it almost in the style of kind of a Norse settlement, in that there are longhouses and there are these kind of like very interestingly intricate organic structures, kind of like taking everything in. You realize that it's very quiet for a settlement. Too quiet.
How long have you waited to say that?
Very long time.
Yeah, I think Gav has come across many an abandoned village in her time in the Gray.
Mm-hmm.
And she has her rifle slung over, but she does sort of readjust just a little bit to make sure it can come to bear pretty fast. Where is everyone?
Yeah. As soon as Gav says that, what do Kyrrie and Twigg do?
I mean, listen. Hey, listen.
Okay.
No.
Oh, you are actually asking if you would like to listen? Okay.
No, like, I mean, yeah, it sounds like we should be listening. Like, Twigg is not saying listen, I am saying I would.
Yeah, exactly.
What do mine
what do your
abomination ears hear? What do my cat? Fuck, they're cat ears.
Yep.
I forgot.
That's right.
Goddamn cat ears.
do me a favor.
What do my cat ears hear, Zach?
You get an enhancement to perception rolls with these cat ears. So if you would like to spend it, you may roll 2 dice in order to hear what's cooking up.
Can I spend anything else?
You may also, if you'd like, spend a bene, whatever you have the
I'll spend
license
a-
or the power to do.
Spend a bene.
All right. While you are doing
Happy about it.
while you are doing that, Kyrrie, what are you doing?
I think Kyrrie is just pretty tense. She has like a look on her face that's like, I don't like this. These signs are not good. Like this seems like a trap. And in fact, I think that's kind of what she takes like a step back towards the river.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should be prepared for some sort of onslaught. I don't like the look of this.
Okay, how did you roll?
Oh, me.
Yes, you.
That's me. Do I need to hit 2 or am I just trying to hit 1?
Whatever. What did you?
I've got I spent the 1 bene, so and with the enhancement, that's a 7 and a 9.
Okay. So the back of your neck, you don't know if it is the ears that you have adopted or taken or have kind of how they've incorporated into your form, but for whatever reason, it's almost like there's an additional set of nerves and like kind of like almost a sixth sense in a way. And the hairs on the back of your neck stand up as you realize you feel like you are walking into not only are you walking into a trap, but you feel like you have entered a field of very powerful magic. And as if to state this, we cut back to this audience room in which you found yourself, Maurice. And Parthas looks at you and says, "Now, of course, I will offer you the first move, if you would prefer, or if you'd like me to remind you how the game is done, I can take the first move." He's basically offering you the white piece or the black piece.
When the opposition was revealed, what did I see? Do we need to tell everyone else to take off their headphones?
Yes, actually. Everybody,
Awesome.
I'm gonna do this, and then when I say like that, you guys can put back on, okay? All right.
Love it.
Cool. All right. So as the kind of like the image panned around, you saw one thing that seems to be really strange as it's kind of almost like moving around. It seems to be like this form of like insubstantial something that is carrying almost as if it's being floated on a wind, a letter or some sort of red envelope. And in this kind of like form, you can see these kind of floating, jangling keys that are somehow not making any noise. And then off in, as if kind of like looking from a distance, you see these two humanoid forms that are crouching in wait behind several of the long houses. And what you do is you see that these forms, they are kind of like armored and weaponed, and carrying these kind of like what you realize are sortiers, like wand-like implements, but their heads are those of white albino rabbits with blood-tinged red eyes. And
You motherfucker.
and I am giving that back to everybody.
Maurice says, "I'll take your offer, but before we begin, it's customary," and he extends out a hand to shake on it.
You see that, like, again, this true spider is massive. But you feel a small force, like almost like one psychically almost trying to match the magnitude of your small hand. And you do kind of get the sense that he is shaking your hand as is custom.
Does that qualify as physical touch for a spell?
It would.
I'd like to do the divine touch, the gift that the queen from the Silver Sun gave me.
Okay.
The text says, your physical touch can restore someone to health and imparts a sense of well-being and beneficence. When you touch a creature, they feel reassured by your presence and you gain +1 to social interactions with them.
All right. Noted. You get this sense of an expression flicker over Parthas's many eyes, but then settle into a look of a determined kind of mask of smugness that you recognize from your previous conversation. I will say, you realize this may not necessarily be what he wants, but what he feels must happen. Okay.
And I get to take my first move?
Yes.
I will refresh a pool.
Okay. All right.
So my first turn is passing.
All right. At which point, all of you guys in the encampment, Parthas nods, looks to you, and then says, the four Vislae, beset by an unseen oppositional force, found themselves in a place of deep and dark conflict, rolling in from the riverbank, a bank of obscuring fog formed a thick cloud around them, obscuring their vision. Everybody that is in the embankment hears this narration. And you watch as the field around you begins getting thick with mist and fog from the riverbank.
Maurice over here playing 4-dimensional chess with us.
This system doesn't have inspiration, but take an inspiration.
Or a monologue token.
All right. That is Parthas's move. We are going to move into action mode for the PCs.
We're literally playing chess with ourselves.
Yeah. What do you guys want to do?
Someplace Allegra is screaming, but in like sadness that she is not here for this.
This is rad. This is rad.
This is very cool, and I hate it so much.
Oh.
All right. So I'm going to give you guys the option of what you want your initiative order to be. Just because I think all of you are working together on this, and you guys are being made aware that you are in some sort of contest or some sort of conflict. You now get to work and collaborate together. That includes, you may decide when Gold Maurice goes.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, so there's fog pouring into this along these rivers. Where's it coming from? Can we tell?
It almost seems like it's appearing out of thin air.
Not to be alarmist or anything, but what the fuck is this?
It's an unnatural fog.
Mm-hmm.
When we all heard the narration, though.
Yes, you all heard the narration of a strange voice narrating your arrival at this riverside embankment.
Someone is playing with us.
I'm gonna tell you guys, these are your turns. What do you want to do?
Do we fight? Are we trying to fight the fog?
I think the idea is if you got stuff you want to cast that you want ready when there's an enemy coming, do it now.
All right.
Well,
Disembodied voices summoning fogs is no basis for a system of
Supreme executive power is derived from Truespiders. That's some farcical aquatic ceremony.
I'm so sorry, I'm taking this seriously.
Twigg is gonna, I guess, activate their forte ability we start at the beginning.
Okay.
Since whatever dumbfuck story we're being dragged into, start at the beginning. So that is a level 2 ability, and I will pump that up by an additional 1 to make it I'll pump that up with an additional 2 sorcery to make it so that I gain +1 armor, and allies within near range of me heal 1 damage every round for every 2 sorcery, which I have done. The armor, damage healed, and range of depletion increase. So I have +2 armor, and everybody around me heals by 2 points of health every turn, and the depletion is 0 to 1.
Okay, that is your turn. Who is next?
I don't yet know what we're fighting. So Gav wants to warily just make her way into the village.
Okay.
She's not going to waste ammo on a disembodied voice.
Okay.
But, you know, just to be on the safe side, it doesn't mean she has to walk in there without some sort of test. And we're by a river.
Mm-hmm.
So there'd probably be like a lot of mud and clay near me.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So someone is thinking that they're going to tell some sort of story with us. Do I have that right?
You hear no response.
And I'm gonna just sort of touch the embankment as I get off the boat. And draw. You see her sort of quickly drawing an outline of a figure that looks humanoid, and she very quickly writes on the forehead something in Hebrew.
Okay.
And slaps the ground, and I cast Fictional Savagery.
Okay.
And I conjure a construct in the form of a creature from a story that I choose.
Okay.
And I summon the golem.
Okay. All right. Does this golem have to have any stats associated with it?
No, absolutely not. It only moves or attacks. That's all it can do. It cannot speak. It cannot do any other kinds of actions, but I can send it out because it can only stay in long range of me. Mm-hmm. So I can send it out first.
Okay. So
into the heart of the village where the fog seems to be thickest.
All right. So describe.
And I'm aware of like what happens to it.
Yeah. Describe what happens as this golem rises from the mud and begins ambling towards the village.
I think first Gav is like, I've been wanting to try that one for a minute. I did not think that would work, but it knows what I want without me really needing to do much. So with my turn, I direct it to go shambling forward, and I think what rises up out of this riverbed, or rather the embankment, is a humanoid figure of pure clay and mud. That I'm not a golem expert, so it's kind of sloughing off just a little bit, but it's making its way forward, just very very slow, thunk. It's like its feet squelching into the wet, grassy fields as it moves forward into the fog until it gets enveloped by it. And I'm waiting to feel if it is attacked, if I hear screaming. I'm just trying to get a sense of what awaits us in there before we set foot ourselves.
Cool. Let me ask you this. What level is that spell?
That's a level 5, baby.
All right. That means that the golem is level 5. It does 5 points of damage. I'm going to say, for all intents and purposes, just keep those numbers in mind.
Cool. It can also defend itself.
Cool.
If I do not use my action to control the creature, it remains still.
Okay.
So it will always be up unless I roll a 0 at the start or at the end of my next turn. No, just each round. So I'm assuming at the top of my next round. If I roll a 0, it will dissipate back into clay. If I don't, it should remain standing there until I ask it to do something.
Okay. I will also tell you this. Keep in mind, it takes 5 injuries per wound.
Okay.
So 5, 5, 5. All right.
We got it.
So it ambles through the mist. I will say this, Kyrrie, it looks as though the young Maurice is going to take some sort of action and like signals to you to move close to him. Do you want to go first, or would you like him to do whatever he wants to do first?
So Kyrrie knows what a battlefield looks like. Kyrrie also knows how to play chess. I think if not just for having lived through Allegra's memories in the war report, she also has this sort of odd feeling in her, like there's something being activated, like some sort of battle strategy sense she hasn't really felt before. And instinctively, she sees young Maurice readying an action and like indicates for young Maurice to go first, and kind of steps to the side and begins preparing her move for her turn.
Okay. He touches you and just says, look, you're Vance, you've got plenty of knowledge, we can use it here, but you're a sitting duck if you go out there by yourself. At least not with a little help, without a little help. And he touches your shoulder and you feel your form shimmer and become translucent as he weaves something together to turn you invisible. You're not sure for how long. On the other side of this scene, you feel as if some of your power has been sapped away, Maurice, as 3 sorcery leave your pool.
I think a slight smile creeps up Kyrrie's face at this as she sort of feels the unseen hand in the game. I think she says, just out of the side of her mouth, clever.
And
thank you, young Maurice. And perhaps not so young Maurice.
And he just looks at you and says, you can just call me Mo or Maurice, honestly. And he smiles and then turns very grimly serious and begins kind of creeping forward and kind of like almost like crouching in the mist as if to try to obscure himself more with it. At which point, Gabrielle, you feel something impact the golem twice. Yeah. So I will say that count off 6 points of damage to the golem, which means it takes 1 wound. Okay?
Gonna do math.
Yeah, perfect. So if you want to do the total math, I will tell you it's got 25 health. Okay? All right. So subtract 6 from that. It's got 19 now. Okay. Which puts us back into Maurice's turn.
I think does Kyrrie go, or was that Kyrrie's
sorry,
turn?
no, that was no. Sorry,
Okay.
Kyrrie, go ahead. What's your turn?
So Kyrrie is going to cast Chesnor's Twin. An identical fragile copy steps out of me. It shatters into glassy shards if struck. I gain an enhancement to my movement or physicality pool as the copy helps me dodge an attack, boost over a wall, lift a gate, or something similar. It lasts until the enhancement is spent and shatters if it travels more than a short distance from me. Its level is 2. As far as I understand it, this twin is visible. So what Kyrrie is intending to do is send the twin in with everyone else, and Kyrrie is going to flank from the other side.
Excellent. I love this. And what does it look like as this glass doppelganger shimmers into existence?
Yeah, it's almost as though like a crystal like the formation of a crystal is sped up like a billion times, just almost out of thin air, just like this shimmering, mirrored kind of looking formation just bursts into existence. And it's something you would be afraid of if you saw it coming at you in the middle of the night, especially given our encounters with mirror creatures. It doesn't quite have that same kind of menace, but every surface, it's like if Kyrrie was gilded with mirrors on every part of her body. It is just like reflecting everything around her, including her hair, her eyes, everything.
Excellent. And you see it mirror your motions as, you know, you kind of like look at it, and as you turn away, it turns away at the same pace. And as you begin walking forward, it begins walking forward with you. Okay. Maurice, it's your turn in the game of stories. What do you do?
Do I get the sense that I'm able to weave as normally as I could anywhere else?
You get the sense that in order to weave or to cast a spell, you would have to do it through your modality. And you get the sense that it will tax you more than if you took any other move. Actually, do me a favor, make me a interaction roll. This is just like more of a common sense check.
Okay. That's 5.
Okay. On a 5, I'm going to say that they're expecting you, this gigantic parliament of spiders is expecting you to tell a story. Take that however you will.
I think I'm going to kind of reach into this modality and from a weaving perspective, it kind of feels like one of those like secure plastic things that the researchers put their gloves inside. Like it's like kind of like, okay, all right, I think I've got this. And he uses this new aggregate. Oh, it's so easy to use, the aggregate of freedom. And then he combines it with heart and kind of the role of interaction, and this kind of warm breeze comes through, almost like a hug. And Maurice looks straight at Parthus and says, "I'm here with you right now, and you can do whatever you want."
So tell me something. You've narrated this. All of you guys hear reassuring, the reassuring warm voice of Maurice speak out to all of you to reassure you in this moment.
Does it clear the fog as well?
Yeah, I will say, describe what this looks like as you dissipate the fog.
I mean, it's basically like the sun evaporating that morning dew. Like it just like in a wave, it just kind of goes forward. So I think the last thing revealed would be like the golem and whatever lies beyond.
Excellent. When you clear the fog, you see your golem gets thrown into sharp relief, Gav, and you see 2 impacts and hairline fractures and cracks running through the clay as whatever hit the golem hit center mass. But it still seems fairly hardy, although the clay is taking damage. I will tell you the next thing that happens is the Lord Parthus looks at you, Maurice, and just says, "Well played. Very well then." And he begins his next move. The Mori Gras, those creatures with the head of a white rabbit and an eyes of shifting colors. They feed on magic, turning those that they touch nearly lifeless and listless. No greater for them and their culture is the sport of hunting Vislae, and they prefer to do so in the dark. And you see flaring into kind of existence, what looks like just this large miasma where before the fog kind of obscured things. You instead see this large kind of like area of darkness that enshrouds the golem, and that is all you see. But at the same time, that is the move that basically he has done. You realize that whatever he has done, Maurice, seems to augment something that the opposition already has available to it. The darkness is very thick, and that is his move. We're going to go back into initiative order. Who's up? All right. Twig.
I think Twig is starting to realize that we're being played with, and is torn between visibly like kind of like, but also very pissed off about all of this. Like the energy is, this is so cool, I'm gonna fucking kill all of you.
Would you say that you're of two minds about it?
Maybe more.
At least 3.
Chat can't see my my Zoom name, which is Twig/Ochre/ who fucking knows with this clown car body. Yeah, so is there anything visible, like tangible, now that the mist is lifted, or am I just bad at using my ears?
Do me a favor and make me a perception roll. I'll give this to you free.
All right. Cool. No doubt.
I will tell you this: on an 8, you will get one thing. On a 7, you will get another thing.
I don't still have the enhancement from having goddamn anime ears, do I?
You spent it, right? So,
yes, I did spend it. Okay, cool.
All right.
I will spend a. Let me double check to make sure I have sortilege to spend. But I will spend a sortilege.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct. That is, oh man, I got really excited. That's a 0 and a 6. And this is for listening or looking, or
this is for listening and for looking. I will say this is actually for looking because the mist has cleared and you mentioned that.
Would you accept searching?
Yes, I will accept searching.
Okay, then that's a 7.
All right, on a 7, let me ask you though, was the 0 on the magic die?
No, it was not.
Okay, cool. So what you instead see is almost like you see floating in the air around a little bit farther off, like a long distance away, I'd say about probably 80 feet. You see a red envelope being carried on this kind of breeze that seems to kind of like manifest as like a floating set of keys that just seems to be jangling and kind of moving in the air. And it's beginning to kind of like circle around and kind of like begin kind of almost like moving around the encircled, this kind of like dark cloud. And you just see it disappear into the cloud.
That's so confusing. I don't even know if I should be threatened or not.
Okay.
I think Twig is. Can I hold an action, so to speak?
You may certainly do that. What's the trigger?
The trigger is anything that sketches me out, I'm gonna shoot it.
Okay. Actually, I will tell you this. Do you want to try and fire off something at that wind?
You know what? Yeah, honestly.
Okay. I need you to roll and try to hit a 6 with 2 successes.
A 6 with 2 successes. Let me scroll on down to my handy dandy Fortinbras.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a +1 dice to this because it is a kindled hand cannon.
Mm-hmm.
I get a +5 to it total. Okay. So I need to hit a 6 with 2 successes?
Yeah. So you need to hit 1 twice, I think.
Yeah, so as long as I don't get a 0 on the dice, is that how that works?
Yes.
I'll take them odds. That's pretty good odds.
Mm-hmm.
And neither of these are magical. They're just regular dice. That was a 1 and a 2. So.
All right.
But which is an 8 and a 7.
Awesome. All right. So I will tell you this.
Sorry, 7 and a 6.
Now remind me, are we treating Fortinbras as magical attacks?
I believe it's a kindled hand cannon.
Okay.
Currently, I have not specifically loaded any of the pale seeds into it. I think this is more of like an exploratory shooting.
Yeah, you see almost as if rippling out from your shot a surge of black, almost like a black circulatory system appear in the middle of this kind of like cloud of keys. And how much damage is that?
That is 6 points of damage.
6 points of damage? Okay, you just see it disappear into the cloud right after you get off that shot. And you realize that whatever you hit has some sort of like incorporeal form.
Hey guys, I think the cloud's alive? Unclear.
Okay. All right.
It's a thing.
All right, so next up. Yeah.
I guess everybody just saw Twigg fire off a monstrously loud shot from this big, crazy looking revolver into a cloud and then go, I think that's alive.
All right. What do you guys, who's next?
It's me, I think.
Okay.
First, I have to roll just to make sure that the golem doesn't just deplete. He does not. That was a 7.
Okay.
Well, first things first. I can see through illusion.
Okay.
Thanks to the seed. What here is not actually here.
So you are looking through that black cloud. It is very much an illusion. You can see the golem. However, that cloud that you were looking at before seems to be using the you realize it's kind of like floating just out of reach of the golem, and what it is you just see this kind of almost spindly form from which are hanging it chains that are tied to keys, and just kind of like on its person it has several arms. In one of the arms is a red envelope that it seems to be kind of carrying and covering with 2 hands.
Cool. Let me pop out my rifle here, just real quick. I am going to fire at those hands. I like that red envelope, please. Okay. And yes, when I do fire it, this is a magical shot if I use my Telestic Strike ability. And oh boy, here comes the math. I haven't done this in a couple of months. I know how to play this game. Yes, certainly. Okay, let me just add up all of this. I need to.
Okay, what you got?
So I remember how to play this game. I just call the shot and I just say the damage, or do I need to make a roll?
I will tell you this. If the level is less than 7, you are going to, if the level is less than 7, it would normally hit, but you are calling a shot. So this is going to be 10. You're going to need...
I will need to roll.
Yeah, you will need 2 successes as well. So you need to spend a sortilege or an enhancement.
I can do that.
Okay.
I have Weapon Whisperer, and I have Lethal Lore. Just +3. That's +2. Oh my god. That's... my rifle automatically gives me a +1 die. I need to remember that. So we're good. I don't actually need to spend the sortilege unless I need to do that on top of this.
You're good. I think, yeah.
Okay.
I think you're trying to get, what is it? Yeah, you can spend a bene if you want to also enhance that.
Cool. It is going to be 9 damage if I manage to hit.
Okay.
Oh. A 9 and an 8 on the dice.
Okay. All right. So in that case, the
9 was on the enhanced dice. My little blue boy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. All right. I love this. So, you just see the hands carrying this thing blown off of the figure, and it seems to almost like wilt. And where it was kind of like floating in the air just outside of the range of the golem, it kind of lands with this kind of jangle on the ground and seems to stop inert.
I need to make it very clear that Gav never moved. She just unslung the rifle upon seeing through the illusion of the darkness and seeing this cloud of keys. And feeling very much like a protagonist now in a Jordan Peele horror movie, she just raises the gun and...
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you just see that happen. This whatever these keys are fall to the ground, and that will be the end of your turn. The envelope that you have like just kind of pried from the hand with the shot seems to flutter to the ground as well. At which point, yeah, I think that is your go. Twig, you went already, right? Yeah. Kyrrie, you're up.
I think actually young Maurice goes before me, yeah.
Okay. So young Maurice.
So how does that work if I'm doing a thing through young Maurice?
I will tell you this. Since you acted through young Maurice, we can call that his turn, unless there's something you want to do in terms of like movement.
I think you can definitely handle Gold Maurice movement, but I think that makes sense if I'm acting through him. Then
Right.
that will cover that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
So you
Okay,
control
so then
you
it
control
is.
movement.
Okay.
Cool. So that was his action. Now, Kyrrie, you're up.
Right. Okay, so I think Kyrrie is kind of sneaking into this village from the other direction, not the direction that the rest of the party is going, / also her mirrored self is going. I think Kyrrie has not forgotten about the Elderbrin. And so one of Kyrie's chief concerns is going to be trying to find the Elderbrin and try to sneak / break them out. If they are somewhere in this village. So I think to start, she's going to want to do a like investigation check to see if there are any indications of like where the Elderbrin are in this village.
Okay, absolutely. Go ahead and make me I'm going to call this a perception check. If you have skills for investigation, go ahead and add it to your venture.
Yes. Okay. We'll add the 1. That's a 7.
Okay. So, all right, 7 total. Okay. So you are investigating, and you see that not very far from wherever this is happening, you notice that there is a long house that is, you can hear some kind of quiet kind of discussion or murmuring from that seems to be barred. And I will say this, I'm just double checking. Okay. Could you make me a movement roll?
Yes, absolutely. And I will add a bene to that.
Okay.
That's a 6.
Okay. On a 6, I think as you're kind of like looking around, you spot this longhouse. And just out of the darkness of the shadows of one of these longhouses that is opposite of the one where you're hearing from the murmuring, you suddenly see this kind of figure enshrouded in the shadow that's cast by the gold sun, opposite, facing the other way. And you see a figure that looks like a human being with a white rabbit's head, and its eyes were this kind of like murderous red, that of like an albino rabbit. Underneath the neck is a full human torso, kind of geared and kitted out for what looks like hunter's garb, carrying a sortier. And then you see its ear twitch, and you see the eyes and the sniffling nose kind of as if catch something on the wind and turn exactly in to face your direction, and they level the sortier in the general direction. I need you to go ahead and make, this is going to be a little bit easier because it's firing blind. I need you to make me 2 successful dodge rolls. So this just requires 2 successes. I need you to make 3 on both dice. Okay.
And that just makes it 3 and 4.
Okay, cool. You just see this shot fire wide as you actually, I was going to say, wouldn't it be firing at the twin? Now that I think about it.
The twin went with the other group. So Kyrrie directed it to go with the other. So it looks like there's a full party coming from that direction.
Excellent. Okay, but it fires into the air just around you, and you manage to kind of catch it, and it just kind of like takes cover back behind the building where it kind of like poked out from. And that's your turn. Okay, cool. Once again, Parthas looks at all of you and says, "True, the Vislae had triumphed with an attack that sundered its incorporeal form, and yet the enemy of property felt itself stir from its ill-timed demise, only to come alive once again to oppose these 4 insolent Vislae." And you see that cloud of keys that had floated down begin jangling once again into the air and dart off as if revitalized for a second win. And that is Parthas's move. Actually, Maurice, you didn't get a move yet, did you?
That's true. I think Maurice is a bit winded. This casting through the modality thing, it's like, walking through a snowdrift.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes another action to refresh his pools and says up to Parthas and says, much like this simulation you're running, the best stories are reality, and your prodigal son came home to see you and talk to you, and yet you try to murder his friends. And so the story goes that the father threatened his son for love, was it? But maybe that story's not written yet.
Make me another interaction roll. I will tell you this, remember to count the bonus that you got from your beneficent touch, your divine touch. I will say that the target number for this is going to be 10. Or no, I'll say 11 for now.
6 with the bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it.
Absolutely. You see something again shift across the visage of this true spider. But just as soon as you say that, he speaks aloud once again, that narration that I just delivered. And you see that in that scene, the enemy of property, this demonic incorporeal form, shift and then move. All right. Once again, top of the round. Twigg, you're up.
The enemy of property. I think Twigg just kind of scratches the new muscles that have kind of formed, attaching these cat ears to their head. Doesn't seem like a fair fight. And I would like to imbue reality. Are there any of these structures near me?
I will tell you this. Yes, you can easily get within distance and touch a longhouse.
I would like to let the longhouse have a say for itself.
Okay. All right. So you're imbuing reality. Once again, read that for me.
It is this is a green ability.
Mm-hmm.
It is a level 3 +1 die. As an action, I empower the reality of an object or terrain near me, giving it the ability to impede and attack my enemies.
Okay.
I may choose an area and then a specifics or an object within, and then, anyways, yeah.
Okay, cool. So you imbue this. What is the level of the spell?
It is a level 3 spell, though I do have Green Sun's Path active, which are increased by 2.
Okay.
So it is technically a level 5 spell. And then I have, I'm not sure if Green Thumb is relevant.
Yes, very relevant. Okay. So it's augmented another +1, right?
So it's a level 6 functionally.
Yeah. Okay. Once again, it's a level 6 creature. Does 6 points
Do
of
I need to
damage.
roll for that?
You know what? I don't think so, because it's not going to resist you on this.
Okay. Yeah, I think Twig's not interested in telling this longhouse what to do. I think Twig's giving it the opportunity to stand its own ground.
And as you do this, you hear in your mind the anguished cry of the longhouse call out, "Murderers!" And you see it lurch forward. What does it look like as this thing gains sapience and life?
I think we see the spine of the longhouse itself. I'm picturing very Nordic, so correct me if I'm wrong. The spine of the longhouse itself, like the form from the peak of the roof, and we see wood and timber and thatch kind of forming it into this I would say like maybe an 6-legged creature that rears up on its front, to like rears its front portion up. We're creating a longhouse centaur functionally. I think that there is no clear sense of where the head is other than like kind of jaws formed of these massive heavy wooden doors. And we can see that like the carvings that are all over it on the interior of the wood kind of ripple and flow out over the rest of it. Clearly what is on the inside is incredibly important to it.
Yeah, absolutely. This thing roars to life, and you realize that it almost has this kind of protean quality to it, as its form also seems to shift, as though it were in a way mimicking the people that typically live with inside it, the Elderbrin, the felines that it inhabits, and absolutely shift and grow and evolve as part of their culture. And this thing, it lurches forward, and it's almost like a cornered animal looking for something to attack and to hit. And you just see it searching around, and it begins kind of like, you hear the creaking of this longhouse as it crawls almost like in effect on its foundation, looking for these the Mori Gras that are lying in wait for you. Okay.
Yeah, I think Twig just kind of takes a few steps back out of danger, being crushed by the heavy stone, and then
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Gav, you're up.
Yeah, do I still see these Mori Gras around?
You saw whatever the enemy of property was. It seemed to dart behind an adjacent longhouse, leaving the darkness. So you can no longer see it, but you know where it went. And if you need to, you can also order your golem to
Don't
move.
worry about that.
Okay.
I think that Gav gives a shrill whistle. She wants to get that red envelope, but she just inclines her. She gives the whistle. The golem turns to look at her, and she just inclines her head in the direction of this enemy of property, and she goes, "Golem, mach and Taten's in."
Okay. Which means for
Move and kill them.
Okay. All right. You see the golem shift, look around. Go ahead and make me a perception roll.
Yeah.
Go ahead and
I'll
add
pop a
5
penny
to
into
that.
Oh
Yeah.
shit! Never mind.
Yeah,
Never mind.
You're rolling with the golem stats essentially. So it's
gotcha.
level. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, that's an 8 on the dice. So
You see the golem walk through an adjacent longhouse and smash through the back wall of it. Kyrrie, you see the wall that is adjacent to the Mori Gras that attacked you. You see it crumble as this golem reaches out to try and grab it. Try to kind of kill this creature. I will say it's evenly matched, so the golem's going to do 5 damage to the Mori Gras as it's surprised by...
It also won't stop until I tell it to, which means every time on my turn it will just keep attacking.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So I will say this. That happens. You do still have your sainted sniper rifle. You haven't sent the halo out, I don't think.
No, I haven't. I'm just going to take my movement, which is I want to move forward and get that red envelope that I shot down from this keykeeper cloud.
Okay. As you bend forward to pick it up, I need you to make me level 5 dodge roll as a form with claws and arms reaches up as the envelope transforms into some sort of demonic creature and tries to pull you into its paper form.
Oh, cool. Love that.
All right.
Whoop. That'll be another 7.
Okay. On a 7, you manage to dodge this, but it definitely kind of startles you as this creature kind of lurches forward and dropping out of it as if like almost like kind of like bound up in it before you triggered it. You just see the unconscious form of an Elderbrin plop onto the ground underneath it as it snarls at you, and you hear the ruffling of papers.
So the envelope had the Elderbrin inside of it.
Yep. You seem to have interrupted a process or something that they were doing in the encampment.
I look up. If I can still see that cloud, do I notice that it's holding more envelopes?
I will tell you this. There are other envelopes. However, you see that they are not sealed.
Oh, get the envelopes. Shoot them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're gonna move down here. Maurice, the young Maurice, is going to, out of a panic, look forward and try to get an eye line on the envelope, or not on the envelope, but on the enemy of property, and is going to move past where you are, Gabrielle, try to get eyesight on it, and is going to weave something together and speak and say, "Stop right where you are." You spend another 3 sorcery, Maurice, as it uses Gold Maurice uses his compel ability. I need you to roll with 3 on the dice. I was gonna say this would technically be interaction. So go ahead. You are he is trying to compel the demon to stop.
I rolled a 2.
Okay. All right. This thing, whatever it did, it kind of like stops as the keys jangle, and then it surges past where you saw the golem attack the Mori Gras. Okay. That is young Maurice's turn. Kyrrie, you're up.
All right, so suffice it to say, I think the Mori Gras that had scented me seems distracted by the attacking golem. Kyrrie is going to use this distraction to sneak over to the longhouse that had the murmuring inside of it. Mm-hmm. You said the door was barred, right?
Yes.
Okay, so she has an ephemera object called Praxis of Thieves, level 2. Mm-hmm. It takes the form of an icon of Diamelu, goddess of thieves. This icon can transform into a lockpick, an oil can with oil, wire cutters, or a pry bar. The form is chosen when you use the icon, and the object disappears after one use. So with a barred door, she is going to choose the pry bar, and she is going to try to wrench it open.
All right, add 2 to your venture. I'm going to say this is probably, I'd say this is more of just like, I think because it's such a basic rudimentary obstacle, I'm going to say that you just need a 5. I was going to say 5 total, so start with 2.
Okay, yeah, so that is a 7 on the die, so we're up
Yep.
at 9.
All right, you pry off the bar, it clatters, and that is when, actually, could you make me a perception roll?
Sure. 6.
Okay, 6 total?
Mhm.
Okay, you feel a clawed hand grab. Oh wait, no. Hold on. Move. Well, I will say this. You've kind of like canceled out your stealth. Do me a favor. Give me a movement roll.
Okay.
All right.
All right, that is 8.
Okay. All right. You think just feel something almost try to grasp the air around you. And you see a clawed hand of the other Mori Gras that was kind of lying in wait, just kind of find no purchase. But you sense that whatever it is it's looking for something that just pried the bar loose. So it's practically nose to nose with you, and those red murderous eyes turn like a pale, sickly green. And that is your turn. You hear more kind of panicked muttering and murmuring as the bar hits the ground below the longhouse. Okay. Maurice, it is now your turn in the game.
Right. I think, and I can perform a weave on like myself here and now, like in.
You may certainly do that.
Yeah, I'm going to weave together heart, the interaction aspect of heart, and the speech aspect of wind, and just kind of infuse it into myself. It feels like when you tighten your laces on a shoe to get it just right, just like this kind of security and hold steadfastness in his heart. And he looks up at Parthos and says, "The son watched his friends suffer at the hands of his father, but they were brave and capable, just like they always have been. The son looked at his father, his eyes a window into his soul, and his father saw vulnerability, grace and forgiveness, and a little bit of hope. And the son said to the father, 'You said nothing is given for free. You gave me life. Did you have to pay? Do I? Did Mom?'
Okay. You may make me another interaction roll. You may add the level of your weave.
So this weave gave me +5 to my interaction pool.
Okay.
So then it was a level 4 spell effect, I think I looked up. Yeah. So level 4 spell, I can spend 3 Bene because I have that secret.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, let's do it. And I can kick open a sortilege as well because I have the advanced sortilege.
Okay.
So this is 3 dice.
Yeah. All right. Roll 3
and
dice.
2 of them are magic.
Okay. And what's you're starting
Is
at?
that correct?
That is correct. What are you starting with again?
I'm starting at 7.
Okay. All right. Roll 3 and see how you do.
A 9, a 3 on the magic die, and on the second magic die, a 4.
So I am going to ask you this. What is your goal in telling him this? What are you asking him to do? Or what are you trying to imply?
Everything he said was true. and he can't control his father.
You see something in these spiders' eyes. You see something break. Some sort of firmament, some sort of wall cracks. And he seems too shocked, maybe too befuddled, and he skips his turn. And that is where we're going to take our 10-minute break. Back up. We're going to start back in initiative order, starting with Twigg. And I'm going
Can I offer a suggestion? Because
Yeah.
I think should have been drawing like 6 cards by now.
Yes.
So maybe we start this one with a card.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a very good call out. I was trying to remember to do that. So
I mean, we were firing off spells left, right, and center.
Oh yeah.
yeah. So
Technically, I haven't used a spell yet.
Ooh, look
you
at you.
fancy.
Fancy. Oh, one of these.
It's because I have like 3, and most of them have to do with my pockets.
Twigg doesn't need magic.
Once again, that was your choice. Okay. All right. So here's this one is really interesting. I think that this is the assassin, the adept of mysteries, rats, mirrors, and stone. Its meanings are finesse, stealth, betrayal, and finality. Subtlety is the assassin's greatest tool. Dealing death is a magical or art all its own. So I'm going to tell you guys, I am actually going to turn a couple of cards to make up. And I'm going to kind of narrate this as we do it. The assassin probably represents the Mori Gras in this situation. I think that's very clear. They are kind of these hunters of Vislae that are working in tandem to try to take you down. The next card that I draw is the unknowable truth. Indigo is its color, and it weakens gray. Its meanings are truth, searching, and futility. The raven stands watch over the unknown. As we strive for understanding, the closer we get to the truth, the farther away it becomes. We know this to be true, but only after we've made the journey. The truth we learn is that we cannot actually know the truth. At the very heart of the secret's family, the unknowable truth is the ultimate secret, the secret that cannot be by its very nature learned. But still we try anyway. It is futile, and yet it is productive. Even when you climb an infinite mountain, you're still moving forward. The foolish find the unknowable frustrating. I find it sustaining. So I'm going to say that this is actually the heartfelt plea that Maurice has made to his father Parthos. And the truth that stings and sits in your words reach even his almost semi-omniscient ears. And I'm going to turn one more for good luck. The ghostly presence, the past, guilt, unresolved issues. It strengthens pale and weakens green. Its meanings, we all have our ghosts. They haunt us, both metaphorically and of course literally. We cannot be weighed down by our past sins, our unrequited feelings, our unresolved issues. As humans, we crave closure, but is such a thing ever truly possible? The ghostly presence suggests that it is not. There's always something from our past that will arise later to remind us of the wrongs of long ago. Do you remember? Do you remember what you did? I do. So the idea on this illustration is the image of a floating ghost. Inside of it sits a black glowing skeleton, and I think that this is the demon of property, or the enemy of property, I should say. I've turned 3, 1 for each round of combat, and we're going to start anew.
And just so I'm clear on how to play this game, because it's been a minute, that's on a Path of Suns that also affects like pluses and minuses of things?
Yes, I will tell you this. So the 4 moves that are available to you are: you can affect the environment in which your friends are working, what exactly you did by blowing the fog away and what Parthos did by opening. You can augment their abilities and allow them to do something with either a bonus or something that you would like to narrate. The other thing that you can do is what I'm calling Deus Ex Machina, which is you can work and cast through your modality. You can either take one of the selected abilities available to Gold Maurice, or you can weave something together through him. The cost is just significantly more because you are affecting his agency.
Got it. And not to belabor the point, but is this on the Path of Suns that grants like additional plus and minuses to colors as well?
Well, here's the final move, which is you can juice the current of magic. You can force a card turn, and either
I don't think you're following me, Zach. Like the regular Path of Suns, the cards go on regularly. Those affect mechanically what's going on in addition to what the cards say, right?
Yes.
Can we look at that?
Yeah,
Can
absolutely.
we pull it up?
Absolutely, sure.
I guess the reason I'm asking is like, why would I want to change a card if it's on a beneficial spot? You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
That is totally fair. I will say this, basically, by juicing the current, you can also get situational bonuses related to the card, is
Cool.
kind of what I'm thinking here. All right. So we're going to start back up with Twigg. What do you do, Twigg?
So I guess I can see that the Longhouse seems to have feelings about what is going on. I did not even clock that we were all putting pieces onto the board. I did not clock that, and that is beautiful. But I think Twigg was responding to Gavriel, is going to respond to Gavriel. What specifically did you say? Like get.
I think she after seeing one of the Elderbrin spill out of the red envelope and seeing that the cloud figure had more, she immediately just called out, like, shoot them, shoot the envelopes.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think Twigg is going to, seems legit, and honestly, like, this is all weird. Fuck this narrator.
Okay. What does that equate to in terms of what you're doing?
I'd like to cast the most powerful spell of all, Zach.
Friendship?
Gun. No,
Oh, go
gun.
ahead. Yeah, what's up?
It's gun.
It's gun? Okay.
Yes.
You cast gun. You are going to fire off Fortinbras. What are you aiming for?
I would like to dislodge one of the letters to free it.
So, yeah, just as
or
a...
to-
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Can I do that without destroying the letter and presumably the people that were in it?
This is just DM's courtesy, or GM's courtesy, rather. That demon went down once. It was given a second wind. There is a possibility it seems to have been kind of like revitalized, but only just. It probably is still very hurt. If you would like to try to destroy the demon without, or the enemy of property without hurting the envelopes, you may try to do so.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I would like to do that then.
Okay.
Let me see if I can do anything special. I don't know that I actually have any pale seeds left now that I'm looking at it. I was going to load a pale seed into this, but I don't know that I have any left. So, flip-flopping character sheets, sometimes things get lost in the mix, but I think Okris passed them all off to Gav. So
I have one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I didn't have that many because I haven't been home in a hot minute.
Yeah, I just have one in my equipment. I don't know if you have more.
Creepy little garden of grave, of grave dirt and pale seeds back at the old homestead. But yeah. So Twig casts gun, and we'll shoot at this demon with Fortinbras. It seemed to be efficacious before.
Go ahead and make me a roll. You are trying to get 7 on 2 dice.
So all I have to do is not roll a 0.
Yeah, don't roll a 0, and then the other thing is,
I'll make this magical.
Yeah,
Put some sortilege in here.
I was gonna say, what's your venture on this to start?
So I have a plus 5 or 6. Hang on.
Okay, so yeah, just
I have both skills in this, and then I have an apostate ability to get. It's like guided hand or something.
Okay.
And oh gosh, wow, I am really out of it. It is plus 5.
Okay.
So I need to hit at least a 1 on 2 of
You
these.
need to hit a 2 on at least 2 of them.
Oh, a 2.
So
That's
you're
how
trying to hit
math works.
7. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm adding the sword edge, so I'm rolling 3. Wow. Okay. Magic dice is a 2. Other dice is a 9. Non-magic dice is a 0.
Okay. So I will say you fired off with 3 dice. You got 2 successes. What does it look like when you shoot this thing out of the sky?
I think we see like an inverse firing effect as Fort and Gras implodes inwards, launching the conceptualization of a bullet out into this cloud. And I think you see as this demon just kind of shudders for a moment and then just begins to crumple inwards.
Yeah, you see it crumple inwards, and then in the like kind of almost this silver dollar sized like little void that forms out of this crumpled form, you see it spit out a very ornate looking key.
Can Twigg kind of run over and snag that?
You may certainly do that on your next turn. Okay.
I know we don't have sound effects, but what's the little bomb that a Django Fett drops? The wow.
Yeah.
That's the noise.
Blast, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it's called
Seismic
either,
charge,
but I know
the
it.
seismic
Seismic charge. It's like
Yeah, the seismic charge. That's
Yeah.
what my brain had Fort and Gras make as a noise.
See now I'm just channeling Oral Knots when they redid that scene.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, next up, Gav.
Seeing that Twigg has definitely got the message and is firing some of the envelopes down, I want to keep focus on that enemy of property that is still within.
So actually, let me interject. I didn't clear up this up. Twigg managed to shoot the enemy of property and down it. And you just see all of these red envelopes on top flutter to the ground.
Got it.
Yeah.
I had mistaken one of the enemies versus the rabbit people. So what I did mean was the rabbit person that I still had. And I have to use my action if I want my golem to make an attack. And since it's still holding one of these creatures, I want it to continue just ripping its head off.
Okay. I will say the level of the golem is the same level as the Mori Gras. So I think you can get... I think you can easily roll depletion for me on the golem first.
That's right. Just forgot about that.
Okay.
I rolled a 0. It's gone.
Yeah. You just see this thing like with strangling a grasp gripped around this Mori Gras' throat, and then you see the clay begin dripping and begin collapsing into the mud. As I think it remind me, it goes from Met to Sekhmet?
Nope.
What
Different
is it?
language, but nice.
Yeah.
It goes from Amet. The Aleph gets erased, and it's just Met.
Yeah, exactly. It went from
Truth and death.
Yeah, and then you just watch as it dissolves. But I won't take away your action. What do you do?
Oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, is the demon completely down, or can it still be? Is it still alive?
It's hurt.
It's hurt.
It's hurt, but it is not downed. In fact, the thing about this is, so this is something we probably need to rule. Does the depletion happen at the end of the round or at the beginning?
It doesn't specify. It just says I have to roll for each new round.
Okay. Well, I will tell you this.
I think in the beginning.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We'd said in the beginning at the outset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I roll in the beginning for all my stuff that has depletion.
Cool.
Like
Perfect.
beginning of the day, beginning of the round, beginning of the whatever.
Yeah.
So go ahead and take your action. What do you like?
Okay.
The Mori Gras is liberated. It's able to move. You don't know what it's going to do next, but it's kind of like looking around, and I think it sees through the hole left by the golem in the longhouse, you advancing. What do you do?
I'm gonna shoot it.
All right.
I think I see the golem dissipate, and I think if we're getting cinematic, like through the dust of the clay crumbling away, there's just from a fair distance way off, there's Gav with her rifle, and I would say it almost immediately cuts through the last of the disintegration.
All right. Awesome. Roll to hit. You are just trying to hit a 7 twice.
Okay, well, it is 7 minus 3, so it's a 4 now because of my lethal lore. It's going to be hit for 9 if I hit it.
Okay.
So we're looking for 4.
All right.
Oh, easy, no problem.
Barely an
6 on the-
inconvenience.
6 on the dice, 9 damage coming at this thing.
9 damage. You see just as it looks like they are going to take off, you just see it crumple with the shot fired. It hits the dirt and begins trying to wobble and pick itself up. It is on death's door. And it looks in your direction through just blood-covered fur and eyes. That is going to be your turn. All right. Twig, you already went. Young Maurice. My quick question, actually, Bill, Maurice, are you trying to cast through your modality?
I would have had to do that last turn.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. In that case, I think young Maurice, seeing this opportunity, seeing the enemy of property downed, I think probably is still not able to see through the cloud that you can, Gabrielle, that the Mori Gras created. It is going to, the cloud of darkness it created, it's going to run past the longhouse on the other side. And in the meantime, I think it's going to wait. I think that Gold Maurice is going to sidle up to one side of the longhouse with what you guys realize is a penknife. Hold it in his hands and wait, and hold an action in case the Mori Gras moves past him. Okay, so that leaves Kyrrie. You have just undone the pry bar. This Mori Gras is looking at you in your general direction, looking for you with pale green eyes and sickly green eyes. What do you do?
Yeah, I think Kyrrie is going to call her mirrored twin to her to give the Mori Gras something effectively to look at. And I think what she wants to do, or what I want to do on her behalf, is use like her forte, words become truth, in a way that makes it look like it's the mirrored self that's doing this, so she can maintain her invisibleness. So words become truth, level 4. I write down a noun on an object, probably a piece of paper, but could be something else. And to all who are close to me when I do, the object looks, feels, tastes, and smells like what I've written on it. Thus, if I write wolf on a piece of paper, those close to me perceive the paper as a wolf. Although this is basically just an illusion, it is a potent one as it exists within the mind of the victim. However, because it is in their mind, I have no control over the specifics or what happens after it's created. And so I think in this case, lacking materials, Kyrrie will actually write on her mirrored self, and turn it into what looks like an Elderbrin holding a carrot.
So here's the thing. You did direct the glass self to be with the other party, with the other members of the party. So I will tell you this, if you would like to create an independent copy of yourself, I'll say that you can grab a piece of paper and write, but I am going to make you roll you know what? No, I'm not going to make you roll stealth for this. I'm just going to have you cast the spell and see if it takes purchase within the Mori Gras' mind. What is the level of your spell?
So it's a forte ability, it is 4.
Okay.
Plus 1 die.
Cool. So go ahead and roll twice. You are going to need to hit a 3 twice. You can also, I was going to say you can add a Bene to this if you want to increase the level.
Yes, I will indeed out of an A.
Okay.
All right. That is an 8 and a 4.
Okay. You are backing away, and I think if you would allow me, I think what you do is you always have parchment on you as a Vance. You always have a pen. You are stepping and backing away very quietly, and you write on this little slip of paper, what is the phrase that you use? Or the noun?
I think she will write an Elderbrin with a carrot.
Okay. And you just see the, I think the Mori Gras is looking, the nose twitching. And then suddenly it sees the Elderbrin in front of it, starts and backs up, reflexively lashing out with the sortir, wasting its attack. Okay. So that is the one Mori Gras' turn. The other one is going to struggle up, look in the direction, look all around it, and then you just see it step into the shadow of this shattered longhouse, one of the long shadows remaining, and you see it disappear from that shadow. Maurice, it's now your turn once again in the Spiders game.
I think I'm going to do that same weave that I did before to give myself +5 interaction in my pool. And if the first one was pulling the laces taut, this one's double knotting it.
Okay.
And he turns, so he's using the aspect of courage in the heart and speech and wind, and he turns to face the crowd gathered around, and he says, the sun turned to see those gathered around, and let them know that he was not afraid, and whatever force that compels you to hold your sovereign to a standard that you know not to be true, sit with that. I'm not going anywhere, but this conversation, this game, it's no longer for you.
Okay. This is just going to be, I'm going to tell you what. I need you to make me another interaction roll. One is going to be, this is going to be for both your father and for the crowd. Enhance it however you want. And tell me what you get.
Just trying to see if I can squeeze any other bonuses out of this. I don't think I can. I'm just rolling a +3.
Okay.
Or no, it works like last time because it's the order of the weave.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So this would be another 7.
Okay.
And does a weave would count as a card pull, right?
Yes. I will go ahead and turn a card.
All right. Do you want the dice result before or after?
Go ahead and give it to me now. I'm not going to read it.
7 on the dice, so that's a 14.
Okay. The card that I pulled is the Whispering Lover. It accentuates gray. It weakens indigo. Meanings: love, romance, partnership, loved ones, and relationships. Love represents the strongest of bonds. Romance, family, and deep friendship. The intimacy inherent in the whispers of a lover is rare and valuable. We seek love, and once we have it, we fight to keep it. The Whispering Lover represents those people in our lives that are most important to us. It doesn't have to suggest romance. There are many kinds of positive relationships one can have in their life. The Whispering Lover always suggests a bond in place or one that will form very soon, but it can be positive one or a negative one. Depending on other cards played, this might suggest that the relationship in question remains strong, ends, faces a challenge, and so on. This card turn essentially just brings the relationship into play. Moments with those we love are fleeting, and yet carry the most power. Parthas surveys this, and everyone, all of the Truespiders in this proscenium, this auditorium, whatever this kind of liminal space in the night side of Silver, they all kind of titter, or not titter, but so much as murmur and speak amongst themselves in the spider's whisper. And of course, there's so many that it's hard for you to decipher any meaning out of it. But what does ring through this auditorium as clear as a bell is your father's voice as he takes the next step in the spider's game, the next turn. The Mori Gras, outnumbered, grievously wounded, succumbs to its mortal strike, falling dead in the dirt outside the encampment. And that's his turn. Gabrielle, we're going to start back, or Twig, we're going to start back with you. Both of the Mori Gras, I believe, are dead, actually, there is one, however, that is still very much alive, but startled. Twig, you see this creature that is like part demon made out of paper, red envelope, thick cardstock paper that looks like it's about to lunge at Gavriel. You have the longhouse that is animated, moving forward. What do you do?
How far is it from me?
I think that you moved, I was going to try to think. You managed to fire off a shot. Gavriel's behind you at this point. So I think you were headed down, or like clear line of sight down the alley in which it was trying to get shelter down the longhouse.
Could I get within melee range of it?
You may certainly do that. I will tell you, yeah.
Can I sneak up on it?
Go ahead and give me a movement roll. It's not going to be a hard roll.
Sneakity, 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 sneakity. I've got some related skills.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna roll just regular, I guess. That'll be a total of 6.
Okay. That does, actually, you would need a second success. Go, if you have an enhancement, go ahead and roll it.
I do not, but can I put sortilege into it instead?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, magic dice. That is a 8 plus 2 for 10.
Okay. What are you trying to do?
I think Twig walks right up to it and is going to shoot it in the back of its fuzzy little head.
Okay.
I would, however, like to. I want to do something as a player. I don't know if Twig is intentionally doing this, but I don't think they are. In fact, I think this is kind of maybe they want to, but it's not really how their abilities work. I would like to use my forte ability. That being Invigorate Spirit, which is a level 5 plus 1 dice green, so technically it's a level 7. And I actually want to bump it by 1. And then in addition to that, I would like to use on Fortinbras itself. And I would like to use the my other, sorry, I'm just scrolling through the massive Word doc that is my character sheet. I would like to use my capstone ability.
Okay.
Which is one beginning as another ending. And when I create a creature or an entity as part of a spell or ability, I may activate this ability to inflict damage equal to the level of this ability to a creature near me. If this kills the creature, the level of the entity I create increases by 4.
Okay. Yeah.
And then there's some additional stuff. Does 8 damage kill this thing from a sneak attack?
I will tell you this. It looks incredibly hurt. It is not, however, dead.
Cool. I will use
go
the
ahead.
second part of that ability, which is lets me take a wound, which means that Fortinbras is now a level 8 sapient enkindled gun.
Okay. All right.
Wait, actually, that might be yeah. It's 4 + 4. That's how math works.
All right. Cool. So Fortinbras is level 8 now. Okay.
And has a mind of its own.
Yeah. At which point, oh my God. All right.
So I think the way this works is that Twigg goes to shoot the gun, and then nothing happens, but the magic surges through Fortinbras, hits the creature, doesn't kill it, and kind of backlashes up and through, and we just see like kind of an explosion of force that just kind of shreds some of these like the jacket and skin not protected by the breastplate of the armor of the 13th hour.
Okay. So, if I may, I am going to take a little bit of creative license. I know that you may have an image in your head or a voice in your head, but for me, and correct me if I'm really far off the mark here, but
Can I
Fortinbras.
jump in before you say anything? Would a card pull help you make this decision, Zach?
Maybe. I have something in my head, but let's see what the voice sounds like.
Also, technically, I did just use 2 abilities.
Yeah, so which of those would you like to use?
Well, technically, I have to use both. It's when I use one, I can trigger the other.
Ah, okay. Cool.
The capstone ability is only triggered by another spell or ability. It's when that's done.
Okay. Cool.
It's as part of the process. It's a meta spell or a meta ability.
Cool. All right. In that case, all right, I'm going to turn a card.
If it helps you feel any better, I just dumped a total of 14 sorcery and physicality into this.
God, I got to make these much harder.
Folks, you love to see it.
All right. So the card that I just turned is the Hidden Moon. It strengthens gray magic. It weakens indigo. Meanings are new beginnings, insight, intuition, foresight, looking ahead, potential danger. When Hidden Moon is played, something new begins. It suggests looking forward, not backward, but what's coming ahead might be dangerous rather than beneficial, so be wary. I think that this actually still solidifies my choice, which is, now correct me if I'm off the mark, but I think the voice that echoes out of Fortinbras sounds a lot like Tom Waits. Like, well, this is a new interesting development. Excuse me, cordite. And that is your turn. Okay, Kyrrie, you are up. You have ensorcelled this Mori Gras. The longhouse is kind of still, the door is unbarred. You're not sure if it's safe to go in yet with this Mori Gras kind of waiting and kind of like looking around. I am also going to turn a card to see what the animated longhouse does. All right. Driver, defender, impetuous, travel, forward motion, and speed, always moving forward. The driver is the defender of the Mysteries family. She protects by enabling others to get away. She carries them to safety, always moving forward. All right. I will tell you this. The longhouse, still echoing and angry. You see it plow through the longhouse that you guys have been blowing chunks out of, or having the golem rip down the wall. This other house just completely crumbles and is destroyed as the other longhouse scrambles over it, crushing it in its wake, once again crying out, "Murderer!" and begins to approach and moved to collapse on and attack the Mori Gras in front of Kyrrie. So I'm going to say its about to crush this Mori Gras. The Mori Gras turns up to look at it as a massive foundation comes down on top of it. How much damage does that do again? 6, I think we decided was the level.
Yep, I think
It
so.
is a level 6 creature, yes.
Yeah. All right. So, boom, you see this longhouse go ahead and just utterly wreck into this Mori Gras. And you just, I think it kind of almost stumbles back from this colossal strike on it. And I skipped somebody. Who did I skip? Gabrielle, you're up.
Yeah. If the demon is still crawling forward, Gav is going to just walk casually over to this thing. And I'm assuming there's still envelopes just scattered around now.
Yeah, absolutely. They are all unsealed is the important thing.
They're all unsealed. Interesting. And yet nothing's coming out of them. Oof.
It's go ahead, actually make me an intellect roll.
Oh, good. I'm great at that. I rolled a 6.
All right. I'll say that a 6 is high enough for you to realize that the envelope that turned into a creature and spat out an Elderbrin was sealed, as if almost like a door locking over a cage. All right. That's what you get with a 6.
Still not quite sure what that means. I'm gonna focus my attention on the still living enemy in front of us.
Okay.
And now that I'm within close range, I don't need my gun to finish this off. I will give you a look, Twigg, like, I'm gonna take care of this.
Okay.
I think Twigg is still just kind of like reeling back from the unexpected backlash of intended gun. And then what happened was, I almost said what got was.
What got was?
What got was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
clearly.
was gotten?
What was gotten was magical explosion to the face.
Yeah, sure. And I want to finish this demon off with my fists
Okay.
instead.
May go ahead and make me a I would like you to go ahead and I need you to hit a 6 on 2 dice.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Seeing if I can boost this bad boy. No, I can't.
Okay.
So 6. How's an actual 6 on that dice?
All right, that's 1. And now we need the second one.
Oh, I needed to hit it for 2 dice.
Yep, 2 successes.
Okay, then let me pump Sortilege into that.
Okay.
'Cause my fists, obviously, it's just 1 dice. That'll be a 7.
Okay.
I love them incremental numbers that I'm rolling today.
So what does it look like as you attack this creature? And how much, more importantly, how much damage do you do?
Since it's just my fists, I actually have no idea.
However, I will say, God, okay, if you're using your actual fist, you are pumping magic into this strike. Do you have anything that augments your hand to hand?
I don't have anything that augments my hand to hand. I have stuff that augments any attack I take with magic.
Okay.
So that will be 3 damage.
Okay. I will say this, whatever it is, it's on death's door. Describe what it looks like as you attack this thing with your magically powered bare hands.
I think they're glowing with the same light that the seed has. Like it's just permeate. Like I cast that sortilege and it just permeates through my veins, and I can't remember if it was it's like a bright greenish type of glow, and and I just bear down on this creature. It's a wordless attack. It's quite literally like Twigg took the shot, and then I very casually walked up behind them and just like sort of drop kicked it. Like I just like slammed down on one knee and just sucker punched this demon in the face.
Excellent. I love it.
Whatever passes for a face on this creature.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it kind of like wobbles this kind of as you punch through this paper face. It's still just barely hanging on to life, and it's going to turn around and attack you, having just put yourself into arm's reach of it. It's going to reach around and try to attack you with these like massive, nasty paper claws to try to give you the worst paper cut of your life. Make me a level 5 defense roll. Oh, pardon me.
Is it defense or resistance?
Not resistance, it's dodge. So
it's dodge, okay.
And it's actually 7 because it gets +2 to its attacks.
Well, alas, it's not resistance because I get fancier bonuses to that, but it's fine. 7?
Okay. All right. It reaches out with these nasty looking claws, and you just see it shred a piece of your coat and your field jacket as you step back, and leaves a couple of tatters behind it. But it's like a wounded hound. It's trying to attack you on all fours and kind of like leaping forward, and then once again finds purchase on the ground, but wobbles and begins to kind of almost collapse under the weight of its wounds and its injuries. Which takes us to young Maurice. Actually, I'm going to take another card pull. The big thing here is to... Oh, I just realized that we had the defender up, so that's +1 to all of your stuff anyway. I'm going to turn one card to see if Maurice, young Maurice, was able to get out of the way of the crumbling longhouse that the animated longhouse collapsed. All right. Ooh, this one's a good one. The Revolutionary, the Sovereign. Meanings are change, destruction, lust, sexuality. Generally considered a positive card. Okay. An NPC. Something changes radically or is destroyed. Could be a person or an object, but just as likely an institution, a law, or something similar. Okay. I'm going to take, because this is a sovereign, I'm going to say this is a positive card turn. At which point, I think Kyrrie, you see the longhouse upon which young Maurice, the gold Maurice, was waiting with the penknife. You see it collapse around him as the other longhouse attacks the Mori Gras. And for a moment, it's just a beat where you're just, oh my God, is he okay? Is everything all right? Did he make it out? You're expecting to see kind of like a young hand poking through the rubble. And then just as the dust clears, you see the young Maurice go, I'm okay! Kyrrie, you're up.
I think having satisfied herself that young Maurice lives to fight another day, there's now nothing in her path to opening the door of the longhouse containing, she hopes, the Elderbrin. So she would like to go inside.
Yeah, absolutely. As you do this, you lift the bar, you've removed the bar, you open the doors, and you see about 40 or 50 people huddled. And I say people, they are these shape-changing people that are very much kind of made of almost like this black kind of, or like very dark blue-ish ink, like amorphous flesh that seems to just move and to change. And all of them, as you startle them, they kind of shift in response to the stimuli, many of their forms kind of moving away. And you see one of them That's right, you're invisible still. Actually, I should be rolling depletion on that. I will say, for the intent of this scene, the illusion that and the collapsing house remove that spell cast, and you become once again visible. And you see one of these smaller Elderbrin move forward, and you watch its head change to mimic your face. And as it looks at you, it speaks to you in a foreign language, almost trepidatiously and very kind of quietly. I'd like you to make me an interaction roll.
Absolutely. That's 8.
Okay, 8. You realize that what it is asking you is in this kind of be you friend or foe?
Amazing. Okay, so Kyrrie has read, if I recall correctly, that page about the Elderbrin. So she has a baseline of knowledge of them and how they work. I think she's probably encountered a few at the campus too. So she would know a few kind of baseline things about them. One of which is that they communicate through form, and like different facial and body types carry different meanings to the Elderbrin.
Mm-hmm.
So, but all the same, I think they can speak human languages as well, if I'm not like mistaken. They'll understand like if she says things. So I think she's going to, in human language, say, "We mean no harm. We come in peace. We're here to help and free you from your captors." But at the same time that she says that, I think her understanding of the words is also going to kind of cue her to almost like move her body in a way that conveys that message also. So like intentionally making her facial expression very relaxed and peaceable, like opening her arms, making sure her gestures are like welcoming and not threatening.
Exactly. And I think, yeah, having read that text about the Elderbrin, it comes easy to you, the understanding that is imparted by this literature. And I think that the understanding is imparted, and you see this grievously wounded Elderbrin, whose form has kind of formed almost like a carapace-like armor, just gently places this child Elderbrin that asked you this behind him, and he kind of steps forward and I think speaks in the Vislae tongue and says, "Thank Vislae." And that is your turn. Cool. Maurice, it's your turn in the Spiders game. I will say
he is go ahead.
I will say this: a sovereign card is up. You will have +2 to whatever you do.
Right, and it's on the
final card of the path.
Oh, it's on the Gold Sun slot. Is it boosting any particular magic?
I will say it's sovereign. It's on the Gold Sun, so it's
+2, whatever.
It'll be +2 to everything, but it'll also be +2 to gold magic.
Interesting. What are the things that I can do? I'm going to. I'm still facing. My back is still to Parthas, and I looked facing everyone else. To the best of my ability, do I see anyone remaining?
You know what? I'm not even going to make you roll for this. Just as you are scanning the crowd, between these massive forms of these true spiders, you spot something that is familiar to you, which is an old woman with dark skin smoking a very ornate looking pipe and smiling at you in a very familiar half smile, as if whatever memory you just ingested gives you some familiarity with this form.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a human form.
A human form. But the true spiders that we're watching are still here.
They're still there, yes.
Okay, I'm going to... I'm just looking at my forte ability. He turns around, but kind of gives the evil eye to all these true spiders that didn't fuck off when he told them to fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, the son speaks softly to his father. The story within the story, not as compelling as the one in front of them. And he had a choice to close the book of the relationship that existed so far, or to begin another chapter.
The reason you realize that none of the spiders left is because they are completely rapt. They are watching with bated breath everything that transpires. And your father considers this. And I have to turn one final card. God, this is going to make me tear up. The compelling voice. Its color is invisible. Its meanings are control, domination, and persuasion. The right voice can command an army. The domination of persuasion inherent in compelling voice can be used both by and against the person in question. It can be a warning to beware honeyed words, or that someone you trust or interact with is actually being controlled by someone else. Alternatively, it can mean that you must use some persuasion to get what you want or need. An NPC uses influence over another to change a situation. Your father stares at you for a long moment. And in the spider's whisper, pondering what you have said here, and what truth you have spoken about starting a new chapter. He looks at you and says, I concede. And I think that your gaze, flicks to the grandmother, that her shadow that you know is watching you. And you just see that half smile turn into a full one. And the image shifts as the scene that was playing out on this board of reality, this game, this spider's game writ large. The image disappears, and you are left facing your father. And once again, the illusion around you shifts, and you find the two of you alone. We cut back to our Vislae, and all of you watch as the angry longhouse attacking the Mori Gras rises up off of its foundations once more, and in a GM shift collapses and crushes this final Mori Gras underneath it. And we are now out of action mode.
Is the house destroyed?
House is utterly destroyed. In its fury, it destroyed its own foundation to kill this thing. But Enough of it is remaining that if anybody were to wish to revitalize it, you could certainly try.
And the demon?
I will say the demon is wobbling weakly. It's literally got one injury remaining. What do you wish to do?
Hopper, what are the odds of Twigg and Gav standing over this thing like we're like the frickin' Boondock Saints and we just shoot it at the same time?
Oh, extraordinarily good. I wouldn't bet against it.
I think that's what happens.
Yeah, I think Twigg goes from looking kind of not in horror, but in dismay at this longhouse. And do we just kind of both there's kind of, I think, like a look to the side, nod, and then the slow mosey over. And I think like two sharp reports.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
In unison, totally.
Excellent. And I will tell you this. There is a magical, kind of essence that is suffusing something that you see in the wreckage of the two longhouses, Twigg, and you realize that it is the key that was left behind by this demon. What do you do?
I think Twigg takes a moment and straightens her slightly damaged jacket, walks into the rubble, picks up the key, slips it into a pocket, but when I say straightens their jacket, I mean restores a pool. And fuck it, let's ride this rodeo again. Except this time, I think I'm gonna jam invigorate spirit in the permanent sense into this house, and then I guess can I just narratively also use my armor healing ability. Basically, I'm trying to turn this building into a creature so that I can then heal the creature.
Absolutely. Yeah, go ahead and spend the sorcery you need to and narrate for me. What does this look like?
So I think, after a short while, after I think after we just absolutely execute this demon, Twigg slips through the broken beams and scattered thatch, the crumbling rubble of the foundations, and kind of digs through a little bit to where they saw the gleam, and then takes a moment, kneels down, and just presses their hands into the broken substrate of this home, and just kind of pours some of themselves into it. And I think we kind of see like this kind of green light diffusing outwards, and as bits of stone begin to coalesce and kind of crack and rattle and then reform into the semblance of what it once was. The house is going to be alive. Yeah. The longhouse will be alive. It is its own creature. I have no control or say on that. But then I think you see that green light kind of hum and whirl around Twigg, and anybody watching could see it diffusing outwards, just kind of in like this kind of slow pulsing aura as you watch this house mend is the wrong word, this house regrow as the bits of itself like knit together like flesh, as the thatch that was scattered doesn't return to where it was. It regrows its own thatch like fur, thick layers of matted hair, and the beams stretching and groaning to fit the memory of what it once was.
I think that, basically when I am picturing when it was attacking the Mori Gras, I kind of pictured Vort of the Boreal Valley from Dark Souls 3, where it's essentially this long kind of like crawling on all fours to get at its prey and smashing down with intensity. And I think that almost it almost kind of like stands in this way as you revitalize it, before, I think, almost perching like a cat, where it rests on the back of its foundation and brings the four kind of like legs of its form, so to speak, in front of it, basically creating a stairwell up into the entry of where it had once been. And you realize that the material, much like the Elderbrin that inhabited this longhouse, the material that makes up the longhouse itself is also somewhat organic, somewhat changeable. And what you have done has emphasized that even more and given it form. And it seems to kind of wait, but you realize it is watching you. Patiently, the same way that a cat would. I will say, Kyrrie, in the longhouse, that defender of the Elderbrin kind of lurches forward and looks to you, looks past you at this scene unfolding, and says, "Is it over?" You realize he is speaking in Vislae.
For now, yes. But it's never truly over. I think you know that as well as I.
And you see the gold Maurice come behind you and kind of look over the situation and survey all of these kind of almost huddled Elderbrin survivors. And you see the young Elderbrin that had encountered you step forward, and once again her face shifts to be and mirror that of the young Maurice, and then kind of steps back, and once again kind of her face shifts back to that kind of same black inky kind of like amorphous flesh, before rejoining the rest of her feline. And the defender looks at all of you, or looks at the two of you, and says, "I am called Effanalison. I am the defender of this encampment."
Allison, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
And yeah.
Perhaps this is a silly question, but I want to ask if you are okay.
I've lost many friends. They came in the nights, first on the outskirts, and then, before we knew it, they were holding us here, draining us, taking us someplace further away out of here, and the creature, and the keys, one by one.
You know where.
And he steps around, and all of you, I think Gabrielle and Twigg, you now see this kind of limping carapist form come out and step into the rubble, and picks up very gently and kind of, I think, very carefully, looking to all of you, picks one of the unsealed envelopes out of the rubble and turns it around and points it to you, Kyrrie, and says, what does this say?" And you realize that written on the envelope is an address. And the street, you do not know the meaning, the geography. You don't have any kind of understanding of what that means in terms of coordinates, but very clearly written in Vislae is the Melitius Manor.
I think Kyrrie turns. The Melitius Manor. Does that name mean anything to you?
Yes. It's far. Actually, let me turn a card to see if he knows.
Is Twigg close enough to hear this now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think F and Allison has come to meet with all of you outside.
Okay.
The Forgotten Prisoner, The Apprentice, Injustice, Bad Fortune, Memory Loss, Something Lost. He looks at you and he says,
I know not what these words mean. Perhaps it is something we call differently here.
Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe I can ask the seed a question.
you may.
I think I can help. And I just put my hand over the halo. Where is the Melitius Manor?
Immediately you see stories written in very kind of descriptive prose of the House of Change, as it were. A place wherein all who would embrace change and who would want the benefits of dynamism and to worship at the feet of a kind and beneficent mistress of change. All of these stories flood your brain. I'd like you to make me a intellect roll to see how well you can decipher what it is telling you.
I'll put my last intellect bene into this. For a 7.
Okay. You realize that it is giving you know exactly where this place is. And it is back further from where you came in the Golden Sun, or the Gold Sun rather, but you know you may have a means to get there faster now that you know the lay of the land. But it is a institution that is well reputed and actually kind of beloved within the Gold Sun itself.
This doesn't make sense. It's here on the Gold Sun, but it's a known institution. Perhaps it's not the same, or it never was what everyone thinks it is.
Maybe it changed.
It seems to be a house of change.
We've seen what the Vespertine do before. Maybe it was them that forced the change. Maybe they're hiding. Maybe there was always decay that they just lurked into. I think it's
Either
related
way.
to this. And Twigg holds up the key.
As you guys ponder this, we're going to cut.
Zach, what's the key look like?
The key is very ornate, and it looks like it has a scowling face on the side in which it kind of faces out and you turn. On the opposite side of the key, on the other opposite face, on one side it is scowling. On one, it looks as though a fanged face is pulled taut in uproarious laughter. This is, you realize as you're holding it, an object of power.
If I may add one final flourish. As Kyrrie watches Gav consult the Seed of Truth, there is just for a fraction of a second in her gaze a kind of longing and an envy. And Kyrie's doppelganger, her mirrored doppelganger, has now rejoined the group, and refracted in the skin of that doppelganger is Kyrie's gaze, her that ambition, that envy, that wish
Okay.
echoing.
Excellent. Okay. So we are going to, with that moment trapped in amber, we're going to cut back to the night side of the Silver Sun. Maurice, it is just you and Parthas now. And once again, I think almost to just perhaps make himself more approachable, he is once again in this humanoid looking form. But at the same time, I think there are flourishes and signs that he is a true spider still present. You realize that what he has done is not an illusion that is mocking you anymore. It is a change of his shape. He's folded himself into this form. And because of that, much like other true spiders, he has the closed eyes that run up his forehead. He has the folding 4 additional arms in addition to his current arms. And he is, I think, looking towards you with consideration. And I will say that there's it's an unguarded look at him. And you realize that it is a very sad look. What do you do?
Maurice takes a deep breath and sighs and kind of tugs at his spirit a bit, and I think he reaches out with one hand, kind of holding it out expectantly.
And he takes the receptacle that is in his hands, and the silken true spider silk, and he rips it apart. And you see the seed fly. I need to turn a card. The fleeting moment. Indigo and gray. Mysteries, rats, mirrors, and stone. Whose family is that?
Curious.
You see the seed float around you, Maurice. And you see an aperture through webbing. A new image forms like the one that he projected for your game. And you see, looking through it, your friends recovering and recuperating from this victory. And he points to the aperture and he says, "You should go."
He takes his open hand and puts out his other. Come here.
And one arm reaches forward and takes yours.
And he pulls his father into an embrace.
I'm so sorry. It's been so long. I miss her so much.
I know.
Go. Now. Tears
I'll be seeing you.
are running down the lids of all of his 8 eyes. And he remains silent, but he watches as you step through the aperture. And the moment that you do, 2 things happen at once. Kyrrie, you see a ambling, very congenial, that face of the gold Maurice look to you. And as Maurice steps through, he begins to trance loose. I guess my time here is done with all of you. At least for now. I look forward to seeing my friends again as they were, but I won't lie, I'm proud of what you all helped me to do today. Be well, and may the invisible sun shine on you. And he dissolves like watercolor painting into the air around as your Maurice steps through the aperture to fill the void that he leaves, knowing that he is not gone, that he will return. That angry, spiteful feeling, Kyrrie, still fills you. That kind of nagging voice of the importance of Gav to the seeds of truth. But before you can think, before that perspective can rot and fester, you see a mote of light fly to you and bury itself deep in your chest as you find yourself gifted with the seed of truth, the truth of inner truth. And it's there that we'll end our episode. Guys, thanks so much. This has been a really great return. I'm just always so grateful when we get to play this really crazy, surreal game with some of my favorite people. So, character arcs, acumen, joy and despair. Gabrielle.
No character arcs on my end, but definitely a joy. We did help out these people in need, and we're going to continue helping them from the Vespertine, and that's it's a good day in Gav's book.
Excellent.
And maybe Kyrrie will stop being so weird about the seeds now, so that's also a bonus for Gav.
Yeah. And at that point, take one joy and one acumen also for figuring out the situation with the Elderbrin trapped in the envelopes, as well as kind of where they're going. Well, actually, I'll get back to that. Moving down the overlay, Maurice, joy, despair, character arcs.
Despite how well everything went, I think ultimately he's left with despair because he did all that work and then he had to leave.
Absolutely. Take one despair and take one acumen for convincing Parthas to concede. Did you fulfill a character arc?
No, I did not.
Okay. Moving over, Twigg, joy, despair, character arcs.
I don't think I answered any questions in my arcs. I think there was a momentary moment of despair as this home, which had been temporarily given the opportunity to exert its will against invaders, got smashed. I think that the chance to reinvigorate it and give it true sapience is kind of a moment of joy.
Excellent. Take a joy. And then take one acumen for adding a few pieces onto the board. Kyrrie, joy, despair, character arcs.
That's a lot to happen in a final 5 minutes. I think joy for Kyrrie. I think Maurice, what Kyrrie saw was Maurice burst into being and effectively give her the very thing she needed to bandage a very deep wound. And I think a very deep wound in their party, right? Between her and Gav, or at least start the process of healing it. And I mean, really, whether it's about having the seed or whether it's about Zaleska having given it to Gav instead, that's something I think we'll find out as Kyrrie processes this development. But I think just the timing of it relative to like Kyrrie having that fierce doubt again and having it reflected again and again in all over her mirror self within that reflection. It was very much a moment of healing, or at least starting her on the process of it. And I think she gets a joy for that.
Excellent. Take one joy and then take one additional acumen for determining wherever the addresses were headed to, or wherever the envelopes were headed to. Okay. So character recaps are done. Shout outs and plugs. Marcy, shout outs and plugs this week.
Well, hello, everyone. There's nothing happening. No, that's not true. If you're not entirely sick of either myself or Hopper, well, then come back here tomorrow night at 8 p.m. for another episode of Streets of Gotham, where everything is fine and chill, and we are not completely unhinged. Hopper,
Not
you
at
can look away all you
all.
want, but I know. But I know.
I'm fine. I'm totally normal. David didn't reach into my chest and rip my heart out.
No,
last
me
week.
either. What are you talking about? We're all good. Anyway, if you're like, what the fuck are they talking about? Hey, we'll tune in and find out more. And then again, if you're still, even at that point, not completely sick of Zach, myself, and Hopper, well, then you can come back on Tuesday for the second episode of our Halloween-themed Flights of Fandom for Gravedale High, where we're playing classic movie monsters as high school students, and catch up on that first episode, people, because it is hysterical.
I was gonna say just the fact that Jeff has a crush.
It's very good.
Jason Voorhees may or may not have a crush on Jeff Stormer. So
That's the
Jason
pitch.
Voorhees, the PE teacher, Jason
Yes.
Voorhees, and the cheerleading coach.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. All right, moving down the overlay. Bill, shout outs and plugs.
Well, I also have a crush on Jeff Stormer, but that's for another time. I'd like to shout out or star the Game Master, Zach. Thanks for going to a real place with me today. That was a lot of fun. As far as plugs, I'd like to plug the Legend Tree. Copy and paste it here into the chat. The Twitch channel, Legend Tree. Oh, I didn't do it right. I'll paste it later. I'm going to be doing two things there. One, every now and then we play a little Gloomhaven. It gets a little, it's a little slapdash, it's a little fun, and sometimes we win, and that's fun. Also on the Legend Tree Twitch, we are streaming once a month. The next stream date is going to be the 3rd of November, that Thursday. We're streaming a home game that graduated to a stream. We're playing a high lethality West Marches game with a bunch of sweeties that are playing legit evil, awful characters. Every episode could be the last because Hopper's trying to kill us. So tune in on the 3rd and see if we make it to another day.
I'm running the game, just to be clear. I'm not
Sure.
trying to murder anybody.
That's
Allegedly.
to be seen.
Excellent. So, finally, moving over to the other side of the overlay, Hopper, shout outs and plugs.
Oh, that's me. Well, everybody covered most of my bullshit already. So, I'd like to star this award-winning ensemble cast in our phenomenal GM.
Aww.
That feels pretty good. That felt pretty good. Thank you to New Jersey Web Fest again for doing all that, and then I don't know, seeing the ways into slapping an award into our grubby little paws. That award, look at that sexy ass, impossible to read on camera, but
Yeah.
oh yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, if you use Zach's face as a backdrop.
Yeah, hold
But
on.
I don't know, actually, shit. What? Oh, Jeff Stormer. You should check out, speaking of Jeff Stormer, who we all have crushes on, clearly. You should check out Jeff Stormer at Party of One podcast, and All My Fantasy Children, the award-winning Party of One podcast, I should add. And also on Eusebius Bed and Breakfast, which won Best of the Best for fiction podcasts at New Jersey Web Fest. Because Jeff is the best of the best and he deserves all the love.
He does. Excellent. And finally, last but certainly not least, Marissa, shout outs and plugs this week.
Yeah, would echo what everyone said so far, but as the resident Good Society runner on the channel, I wanted to plug our good friend Chloe's game jam that is going on for this month of October for all game designers and Good Society fans. It is a game jam just for what's called Pen to Good Society games, or Hacks of Good Society, which started October 1st and runs through the end of the month. You can find out more at the link that I am putting in the chat. But if you've ever said, like, what about Regency Good Society, but I don't know, trash animals, then this might be for you. Come have an excuse to like be accountable and design a game and put it out in the world. That's what this is all about. So yeah, go check it out.
Excellent.
Fine, I'll make Good Dog Society.
All right. And then finally, for my own part, I want to shout out to everybody who joined us in chat. Tiddlywink, Fantasy Animal Vegan. Let me see. I think it was Fantasy Animal Vegan. Also, Angel Citadel Josh, once again, thanks so much for joining us. Hope you had a great vacation. Cole Drake and Anarchity. So thank you so much. Or Anarchity. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been a really great stream having you guys in the chat. We love doing this so much, so it really enthuses the heck out of us that you guys get a kick out of it too, and that you keep joining us. So interesting kind of announcements here. We are going to be trying to pre-record some development mode scenes as well as some of our episodes. Now, this may cut down on some of our engagement, but to be honest, like with chat, but to be honest, we have crazy schedules, and we're going to be able to pump a little bit more production value into those things, into a development mode especially, and release that out to you guys, hopefully on a more consistent basis. Also, if we have our druthers, we're eventually going to release that whole podcast thing, at least for an initial run of the earlier episodes, so that you guys can catch up. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks so much for being fantastic in the chat and being really happy to see us, as happy as we are to see you. Thank you to my cast for rolling with this dumb idea I had and turning it into something really magical. And thank you to Monty Cook Games for their support, and to New Jersey Webfest for y'all's support, and Counterparty for all of the inspiration. So guys, in the meantime, we got to call it a night, but thank you so much. Take care of yourselves, take care of the people that you love, and may the invisible sun shine on you all. Good night.
Be gay, do crime.
Be gay, do crime.